gentleman, he overheard them talking, and he came back and told me what he heard and the plans. See, they don't really have true intentions on fighting. They can say what they want, but I know for sure.
Right.
I know this is what I know for sure, and my heart is shattered because I wanted to know what would have become of that. Now they got it, although it's still on, but they can escape now if they want to, and nobody won't look at them wrong. You understand me?
Yeah, but that's.
Those are the words of Deontay Wilder. He was on 78 Sports TV. As I promised you guys, I would counterpunch. I would look at the interview and counterpunch segments of the interview, like I'm doing right now. And as you guys just heard, story time. Deontay Wilder claims that he had a mole or whoever, someone from his camp or whatever, overheard Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua say that they didn't want to fight. They were going to retire. They were going to do something else besides fight Deontay Wilder. And he feels shattered, of course, because he would like to know what could have transpired. And then now they have a way out due to his loss to Joseph Parker. My counterpunch to that is that's exactly what they could do. Because you lost. I think the major question is, it's not if Joshua and Eddie decides to do something else. It's if the fight between Joshua and Wilder to the Saudis is worth still matching up. You know, they don't know. Like, how do you know? How do you justify a fight between Wilder and AJ right away now, next, when Wilder lost? You know what I'm saying? Because, see, here's the thing. Wilder, it sounds like a catchy comeback. Oh, well, they didn't want to fight anyway because they, you know, in fact, they didn't want they didn't want the fight, and we overheard them say that. I mean, that's convenient for you to tell people that or to leak that out or whatever based on what you heard, quote unquote, from somebody else that told you something in their camp. I mean, that's convenient for you to say that because you lost. The truth of the matter is, we'll never know if he would have done or what they would have done because you lost. See, one thing about excuses, one thing about your beliefs is the fact that if you feel that someone's ducking you, you give them no way out. You give them no excuses. The same with the Andy Ruiz thing, and I got a hilarious video about Andy and Deontay later on. But Andy was a guy that they let out because it's always, oh, well, he didn't want to fight, so we knew he didn't want to fight. He's ducking us. He's pricing himself out. He's this, he's that. But at the same time, you didn't back him into a corner. You didn't give him an offer that he could or would take. You just, wanted people, the public, to believe that, this is what and how Andy Ruiz really is or whatever. You know, people then can make up their mind because you really never, forced anything. You never put yourself in a position to make AJ do anything because you lost. You should have beat Joseph Parker. And we still, looking at this whole video, we don't really even have a legitimate reason on why. And the reasons are not even, technical or, yes, that and the other. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But him claiming that, they got themselves a way out of fighting us. No, you got yourself a way out of fighting them. Not the other. You think it's one way, but it's actually the other way around. You lost to Joseph Parker. And you saying now, I'm still so important at this point. Even though I lost to Joseph Parker, That means you think you could still call shots because you've praised Saudi Arabia this, Saudi Arabia that, which I'm pretty sure it's a beautiful country. People wouldn't go there if it wasn't. I get that. But how would that be fair to Joseph Parker beating you and then that fight is still staged? Whatever happens to him? That's just like if you beat Parker, then they said, oh, well, no, we're still going to fight Parker. People would be in an uproar in that situation if that would have happened. If he would have picked Parker to fight over you and you already beat Parker, that wouldn't be fair to Parker or Team Parker at any stretch of the imagination. So I think what needs to happen, I think this is an evidence that Wilder is not humble. You know, Wilder's stuck on some type of ego trip like, oh, I'm still a king and, you know, people ride with me and I got that dog, I got this, I got that. I'm still great. I was anointed. My grandma said I was anointed and this, that, and the other. And I just think, well, I mean, you could lose just like you could win. That's what it's showing us. That's the reality of the whole thing. You can lose just like everybody else. You're nobody special. Just like a lot of these fighters are really, they can lose just like any other people. They're human. That's the point. But to say someone, oh, this is what we heard, and none of that hearing shit doesn't matter at this point. Why? Because you lost. And now you're shattered because you know the idea of Anthony Joshua, if he was going to duck you or not. You'll never know that now. You know, however, what's AJ's take on it? AJ said, I'll still fight Wilder. You know, but understand, it probably won't be with the money that he thought he was going to get. If he was still, if the Saudis still stage this fight, do you think it will be at the same value of what it was going to be if he knocked out Parker? No, it won't. It will probably be a pay cut, you know, but if people still want to see it, I think Saudi Arabia could put it on. But then again, where does Joseph Parker go from there? Which I think is totally unfair because he's also another former champion. That's why he was on the roster, because these guys were former champions. But I just think it's strange to hear Wilder say, man, they got a way out now. You know? Let's continue.
That was the play from the jump because all this time we've been waiting. We've been waiting for years, but last year when you fought Robert Hernandez and you knocked him out in one round, okay? AJ comes back and I think did he fight Hernandez? Did he fight somebody else? I know he fought Hernandez. And after this, everybody's saying, okay, that's a perfect build-up. Now you got to fight Wilder. That's a perfect build-up. Right. You know what I'm saying? All we kept hearing from the UK analysts was, oh, AJ shouldn't fight Wilder. He's not ready for Wilder. Oh, AJ needs to get back into. He's not looking like himself. You know, he needs one more fight. One more fight, get comfortable before Wilder and all this. It's like it's a never-ending stalling tactic. Okay. Right. Then we find out y'all got the dead reckoning. So people like, oh, AJ and Wilder, okay, it's gonna happen on short notice. Woo.
Let me counter this before I forget. Okay. A lot of British analysts were saying that, you know, Johnny Nelson, Carl Froch, guys like that were saying that, no, I don't think AJ's ready for someone like Wilder, which is a good thing. They were saying that. So 78 Sports TV is right about that. They were saying those type of things. A lot of people thought that, you know, because they thought, well, okay, well, maybe because why though? He needed to get his killer instinct back or the old AJ back. You know, he needs prepping and those type of things. He needs more fights, you know, before jumping in bed with Deontay. So yeah, that was the case. But now the day of reckoning. Let's go.
Nope, they got y'all in different opponents. Okay, now this is my issue with it. I trust your power against anybody, so I'm always riding Bomb Squad. But my issue with it was, okay, AJ get to fight his sparring partner, and you gotta fight a former world champion who's been active. This is his activity was mixed match. You know what I'm saying? Me and one of the homies were talking about that the other day. Like the activity levels was mismatched to me. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it would have been better and more personal had they put you in with Jarrell Miller. Y'all fight. Y'all get that cleaned up out the way. Joseph Parker and whatchamacallit, Danny Dubois fight or whatever. Because see, they put Danny Dubois in a position to look fantastic. You see what I'm saying? He's in a position with a guy who's been inactive. You know what I'm saying? He fought since 1984. He come in here, whoop on dude, just do. You know what I mean? It just, I just didn't like that little situation there. But other than that, once you shake off that ring rust, you know, you just got 12 rounds in now. Now you get your full training camp in, and I think you're gonna be fine. I think
okay. The matches. The mismatches or whatever he was talking about, mixing matches were not right. Well, what 78 Sports don't know, okay, and let me counter 78 Sports TV. First of all, the original fight was supposed to be between Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois. The problem was Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois didn't want to fight Joseph Parker because he moved too much. That was the reason. Jarrell Miller exposed that in the press conference. Okay? That's why he was like, okay, no, he wanted to fight Joseph Parker because that was Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, because that would have been a fight stepped up for someone that just went out for the title or up for the title. The former mandatory, which was Daniel Dubois, versus the former WBO champion, which is Joseph Parker. They were going to fight, but then Daniel Dubois didn't like the idea of the match between himself and somebody that moved like that, okay? Because Joseph Parker is a guy that can move and box, you know what I mean? And they matched Danny Dubois versus Jarrell Miller, okay? And Otto Vailene, he calls Otto Vailene, the sparring partner of Joshua. Why would he fight in the sparring partner of Joshua, and then you're fighting Joseph Parker? Well, we already know about Parker, right? So Parker went on to Wilder because Wilder had to fight some damn body, right? But then here's the deal. Why aren't you addressing that Deontay Wilder's only fight in the last 2 years that lasted 30 seconds was against a sparring partner? That's exactly who he was. Robert Alenius was the sparring partner of Deontay Wilder in the preparation of Deontay versus Tyson Fury. I think it was either the second fight or the third fight. Okay? So yeah, that's his sparring partner. He fought his sparring partner on the fight back. You know, and speaking of inactivity, I'm not sure about Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller, you know, he fought this year. He just fought Lucas Brown. So he ain't been that damn inactive. And as far as Deontay Wilder's inactivity as far as him not fighting, that's his own damn fault. You know, he needs to blame his management, if anything. If his management couldn't get him fights, or was it him that couldn't get himself fights? Because the way I see it, it takes two to tango. You know, I don't think you can throw everything on Andy Ruiz, okay, that, they didn't want a fight done. Now, Andy has done some shady stuff in the last few years as far as ducks and negotiations, and, you know, he's done some funny shit. But then so is Wilder. If both of those guys had a squeaky clean negotiation history, this would be a different conversation, but it's not. See, I believe Wilder has his own ego and what he wants and what he allows and what he doesn't want other fighters to have when fighting him. I don't believe that narrative with him, he can't find fights because of his power. People are going to stop giving a shit about his power. His power, his power, he can punch, but he can't fight or can't box. So people are going to understand that, and people know more of that now when you see him go 12 rounds against Joseph Parker, especially inactive. But I mean, again, inactivity, he could have got any Joe Blow like he's done for the last 13 years to put in front of him to knock out, just like he did last year. Hell, why didn't he get another sparring partner or somebody else on that level to fight if he wanted to knock the ring rust off, or somebody, somewhere? Hell, fight Ortiz and give him another check. Put him in the damn nursing home. Something. He didn't have to go all this time trying to be picky about what he's going to do with this new version or this new side of his career, in which all he really did was procrastinate, and it backfired on him. That's all it really happened. That's all it really was. Okay? So with them saying, oh man, I don't like the problem with how these are matched. Well, you don't blame AJ and don't blame the UK. You know what I mean? You might, if anything, you can blame Frank Warren, but Frank Warren was the guy that was pretty much running this show. Okay, so for him worried about Joseph Parker or whatever, I don't think that's cool, because, see, here's the deal. Wasn't it Deontay Wilder that said, well, man, Joshua, I hope he win. He better be focused. He could lose. See what I mean? So that's that type of shit. Now that he's lost, now all these other excuses are coming forth. Oh, man, I had to fight Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? Well, you didn't have that energy. You were so confident before you fought him, until you found out this guy's a lot better than I thought he was. I'm glad I didn't fight him 6 years ago. And here's the deal. If you would have fought him 6 years ago, he maybe or maybe not been able to land that right hand due to his boxing ability. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this particular Counterpunch on 78 Sports TV and Deontay Wilder. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.